Hello YouTubes, time for another DCC upgrade. This week, Dominion Atlantic BUDD RDC car. This is a Lifelike Proto 1000 and it does have the capability to upgrade to DCC relatively easy. We'll find out when we get inside. As usual, I'll be using one of my TCS T4 LED decoders, and I'm going to be using two of the light functions. Now, although it says T4 LED, it's really just T3 because front and rear headlights is really just one function because it flips between the two. But I think they're classing that as two light functions. And then the other two light functions, I'll be using one for the interior. So I'm going to be using an LED light strip on the inside. And that will leave me one extra one for I don't know what. So probably just two functions out of the four functions I'll be using. Now what I think I'll do with this, if you look at the top of the front there, there's actually two light lenses. So I think what I'll do, I'll have a headlight in there, a white headlight, bright white, and also a red LED for when it's going in the other direction, so it would act as a kind of red tail light, because these sometimes ran on their own, so it would be nice to have a little red light at the back, and either way could be the back. So I need a red and a white light there, and a red and a white light up there. So that's the plan, plus, as I say, LED on the inside light strip. Right, let's get into this. So the body is attached with 4 screws in the underside. Now I've done one of these before and there was a screw there, there, there and there. However, you might notice there's actually no screws at the back here. And on further investigation there's actually a screw down that hole and down that hole, which is a bit different. And it looks at first sight that these ones have been forgotten to be put in. However, you'll find out that that's not the case once we get inside. We also need to remove the couplers front and back, so let me quickly take care of that. Now it's near impossible to get those two out without lifting the body off, so we'll do that now, and it should just slide off nice and smooth. Well, except those little screws are still getting caught up. And they don't appear to be magnetic screws either, which is a wee bit frustrating. Oh, there we go. Cool. So, make sure we don't lose our screws, and I will show you the underside here so that you understand why it's not using the outer screws. That's my 2 screws located. If you look in the inside here, so those 2 screw holes are for those 2 at the sides there, that one and that one. However, you'll notice that these ones are way up in the roof, that one and that one, which is why we don't have the ones at the side. So the good news is it can only go on one way. You're not going to get mixed up which way around this goes, if it goes that way or that way. It can only go one way. Right, let's have a good look at this then. When I did this on my last BUDD car, I don't remember using this circuit board, but I'm going to attempt to use it this time. Let's have a closer look at what it says on the board itself, because very interestingly it says right there, it says next to the little X, cut for DCC. So what it's wanting us to do is break that little track here, break that little track there, and break that little track there. The reason it's wanting us to do that is, if you check out this line here, it goes from this point here, which is our left rear pickup, okay, all the way along, and it joins to the front left pickup, and then it goes into either P4 or it goes into this little X and into P6. So if we break this join here, then it can only go to P4. So if we solder our decoder left pickup wire to that, then it's collecting a power from the front and the rear left pickup of the rails. And likewise on the right pickup, we've got this track going along here, as you can see, front right pickup and rear right pickup back here. It's joined together with this line here, it goes into P8, but if we cut it there, it goes no further. So again, we can solder the right pickup for the track onto P8. So P4 and P8 will be at our rail pickups. All the rest is really just for light control. And I'm not sure if I can use this with my decoder, because my decoder takes care of all the lighting. It's got its own resistor and it's got its own direction, but we'll give it a try. I mean, it does say cut for DCC. I'm not quite sure how old these things are. I'm going to try that. The second reason I want to keep the circuit board is it gives me a nice platform to attach my LED light strip to the underside. Although these solder pins might kind of get in the way of my light strip, but we'll see. I am going to try going by the book, cutting these little X's out the way and also soldering on everything where it's supposed to go. Now I do believe, and I'll need to check this to double check, you know what I mean, where the other wires go, because it should be relatively straightforward. Okay, I've done a bit of research. Let me run through where all these wires are going to go. Give you a nice big close-up here. Okay, starting with P4 is going to be the black wire, left rail pickup. P8 is going to be the red wire, right rail pickup. P1 is going to be the orange wire, which is going to the positive of the motor. And the negative of the motor will be P5, and that's going to be the grey wire. P2 is going to be the yellow wire, which is the negative for the rear headlight. And P6 will be the white wire, which is the negative for the front headlight, and that's the white wire. And finally, P7 is going to be the blue wire, which is the common positive for all the lighting. Now, I will have an extra couple of wires. If this system works, I'll still have like purple and green wires, one of which I can use as the negative for the strip light on the underside, but its blue wire also gets connected to, what did I say, P7 as the common positive. So that is the plan, and also later down the line I will be soldering all these connections because I hate these little black caps that hold the wires in. They're just prone to getting loose and losing your connection. Okay, let's cut some of these little tracks. Now you could drill through them, you could use a knife I suppose. I'm just going to use my little Dremel tool. Make sure you use your protective eyewear because these things do like to fly off and blind you. Now it doesn't have to go mega deep, we just want to break this little line of, I suppose it's like painted solder, you know what it's like, circuit boards, so let's not go too crazy here. This one's a wee bit trickier because it's so close to the other two, so probably going to go at a diagonal for this one. And I think that is done, but what I'll do is I'll go and grab my continuity tester and just make sure we have got through those little lines properly. So this is the lovely little gizmo I'm talking about, kindly donated by Greg Dean. This is a non-power machine, as in don't have power going through this. It's got a battery in it, it lights up once you get a connection. So I'm going to remove these little clips here, just so that I've got something to grab onto, because I will be soldering these on anyway at a later date. So let's put our little clip on here, and that little clip goes all the way along this line here, goes to the front, but we can try it there as well. So if I connect this to P4, then this should light up, okay, as it does. P4 is lighting up, but if I connect it to P6 now, after the cut, it should not light up. It does not light up. Just double check that. P4 lights up, P6 does not light up. So we've broken that connection. Let us try the next connection, which is going to be the right rail. So again, we're going to hook that onto the right rail pickup back there. P8 should light up, and it does. P1, the other side of the brake, should not light up. It does not. So we've successfully cut through that one. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the junction between P2 and P5. Now let's see now. As they go to the motor. Oh, right, okay. P5 goes to, what did I say earlier? P1 and P5 go to the motor, I believe. So if we connect this clip to motor there, then it should no longer go to P5, is that right? Oh no, it should go to P5, but it shouldn't go to P1. Or P2, sorry. Yeah, so it's not making it from that side to that side, so that's fine. Let's see, if I connect it to P1, shouldn't get anything, but if I move this over to that side, to that little clip there, now it should get P1, which it does. It won't get P8, so we're all good there, we're all good. We have successfully cut our little X's. We can move on to the next stage. I think what I'd like to do at this stage is solder on my wires that have got these horrible little black clips, but not the light wires yet, because I don't know if they're going to be bright enough with the incandescent bulbs. So let us remove the clips for the ones we do want to do, which is the left and right front, left and right rear, which is those two and those two. Leave the lights alone, which is the two center ones in there, the two outer ones back there. For the motor pickup, or the motor wires, I'm going to straighten these little wires before I solder them, just in case they don't work. If I was to solder these on the bent position, then they would be an absolute nightmare to remove. So I'm going to straighten those little wires so they point straight up. I will solder them, but it does mean that they will be easier to remove if this system doesn't work the way it's intending it to. Then I can desolder them, pull them out, and do it the traditional way with my decoders. Right, let me solder these all on for now. Let's get a little bit of flux in here. Splooge that there and there, and there and there. And a bit on the motors as well, or the motor connections. Get a bit of solder in here. Lovely. Okay, decoder time. Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do actually. I'm going to put a blob of solder on all of these little points, and then it'll be much easier just to attach all our new wires. So, more flux please on all of them. Doesn't need a gigantic amount of solder in these. It's got a very fine wire going to each one. Make sure you've got enough cable for your soldering iron. Little blobs. Oh, my poor camera's struggling to see what you're supposed to be seeing. Okay, we're all soldered up, or at least solder blobbed up. My front pickups are soldered on, rear pickups soldered on, lights are not soldered on, blob of solder now. Right, decoder. Let's just give all that a bit of a clean up with some isopropyl alcohol. Don't want any corrosion further down the line. Okay, that should do it. Here's my decoder wiring harness. Now I'm not going to cut these wires down yet in case this board doesn't work, and then I just have to wire it like I normally do. Okay, let us start with our red wire, which I said went to P8. Let's get that one on. And I have already stripped these a little bit and tinned them up beforehand just to make life a little bit easier. So red wire is going on to P8. Let's get the one underneath that, P1, which will be the orange wire. Orange wire is one that goes to the positive of the motor. So we'll get that onto P1. Okay, next up we'll go P7. And P7 is going to be the blue wire, which is the common positive for all the lights. Just make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I'm sure you can see just fine. Right, blue wire is going on to P7. Next one down I'm going to do is P2. P2 is going to be the yellow wire, which is the negative for the rear headlight. Yes, I did melt the blue wire just a little bit, but that's okay. It adds character. Next up, P6, which is going to be the white negative for the front headlight. Next, we're going to do P5, which is going to be the grey, and that is going to the motor negative. And finally, P4 will be the black, which is the left rail pickup negative, going into the decoder. So technically, we'll just install the decoder, if it works. Now, I've still got the green and the purple wire, which I'm going to be using for, well, I'm only going to use one of them. And this is going to be the interior light negative. So it can either be purple or green. We can always use the other wire for something else further down the line, if we so desire. But for now, this should be good to go, according to the instructions. So let me give you a close-up of these connections on the off chance that this actually does work. Okay, so black, grey, white, blue, yellow, red, orange. Looks like that. You're welcome to take a screenshot and then delete it if this doesn't work. Okay, let's get this over to the track, see if it works. Fingers crossed, everyone. Track's in the next room, by the way, so see you in a minute. Now hopefully this works and doesn't fry my new decoder. But if we never try, we'll never find out. Okay, so we should be set to loco number 3 if this works. We're on loco 3 and forward. Oh my goodness, it works. And it's really quiet. Let's change direction. Come on, I changed direction. Doesn't seem to be changing direction. Let's hit the stop button. Oh, the stop button's not working either. Why are you not working now? Interesting. Still going forward. Stop. Stop. It speeds up. Oh, here it comes now. Don't know why it decided to not work earlier, but I'm just hitting the change direction button. Comes forward. Change direction button, that one there. Okay, so that's working now. Right, let's stop you. Go back a wee bit, because now I want to check my lights. And this is the thing that I'm most worried about, whether the lights are going to work. Goodness, oh, it does stop. Oh, I need to mess about with my CV settings to change the acceleration, deceleration. Right, lights should be function 0. Oh, we don't seem to have lights, which I was kind of worried about, to be honest. Let me just check, see if we've got any lights at the back. No light at the back either. Now I'm wondering if I just change these to LEDs, they'll suddenly work. We'll try some other buttons just in case the light decides to come on with maybe function 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we're all lights. So we'll go back to the bench, we'll swap these lights over for LEDs and see if that solves it. I don't think it will though. Hey, I'm just happy that it works at all and it hasn't blown my decoder, although it might have blown the light section. Right, let me dig out a couple of LEDs front and back. I'm just going to be using bright white 3mm pre-wired with resistors LEDs in there, and I might have to swap them about because obviously the positive and negative matters when it's a LED. So remember folks, always check your LEDs before you install them. Also because I'm not sure if these are bright white or soft white, and I want the bright white for the headlights. I just think it looks nicer. So that one works, that's a bright white, that's one, and I need two. These have got glue on them, so they've been used in something else. That's okay, should be fine, should be fine. What colour are you? Also bright white, so that's the two I need. So we can remove this incandescent job with its horrible little black clips. Get you off skate, and you. Lovely. They're just fed through, they're not soldered on yet. Well, at all. They never were going to be soldered on, but if these work, I'll be soldering on my LEDs. If I ever get this out. So, don't really know which way around these are going to go. I'm going to cut them down. That should pop in there quite nicely, actually. A bit of tape, that will hold it in place where it's supposed to go. And this is good because it means we don't have anything attached to the shell, and we can easily service the loco without having to unplug wires. Right, let me just snip these down a little bit, or strip them down a bit. I think what I'll do is just put a little bit of solder in these just to keep them from fraying or separating, you know. And they'll go through those little holes easier as well. Lovely. So this one's going to be 50-50 because it doesn't say if they're positive and negative. I'm going to try the positive being on the same side as the right rail pickup. You know what, I think I'm going to have to add a bit of solder in here. Which is fine, I can easily unsolder it if I don't like it. Positive LED wire on and negative LED wire on. Okay, back to the track, see if that works so far. But I'll tell you what I'll do is I am going to unplug the rear light just in case that is going to cause problems, because the front light should work independently of the rear anyway. If we can get this off. Pull you out. This will probably be easier if I unscrew the circuit board. But whoever liked doing things the easy way? Not me. Right. Get a bit of tape on this again just to stop it misbehaving. And we'll get back to the track for the next attempt at light testing. There you go. Right, track. If this doesn't work, obviously we can try swapping the polarity around in those wires, and if it still doesn't work, then we're not going to be using the circuit board for that, at least. Right, make sure power's still going. Yep, still going forward, still going backwards. And suddenly, oh yeah, definitely needs a bit of a run. It is a good runner, but it's not used to this DCC at this low level. Right, light, please light up. Nah, still no light. Okay, let me quickly nip back to the bench, swap these wires over, I'll see you in a sec. And we're back. I was but a jiffy. Right, last chance, circuit board. Do we have a light? No, no light. Or power, apparently. Yeah, definitely no light. That's unfortunate. Dog's not happy either, obviously. Right, back to the bench. So I'm thinking the circuit board might have worked for older decoders, but this one's actually quite a new decoder and it probably doesn't understand what on earth the circuit board is even trying to do. So it looks like we are going to have to only use the circuit board for the left and right pickups and the feed to the motor, which is actually quite good, and also be using it as a platform for our LED light strip for the interior. Other than that, I'm going to be taking some stuff off because it's just in the way and adding extra weight. Oh no, we want extra weight. No, I'm going to take it off anyway, just in case. Righty then, let us get our decoder out the way. Don't want to be ruining that. Now I could desolder all of these wires and cut these down a little bit. I'm going to leave them for now, as long as that's kept out the way while we're doing this. I'll just wrap it underneath for now. Okay, we are going to remove all of these diodes, that resistor, all of those diodes. My plan is to, instead of trying to get both sides out at the same time when I desolder them, I'm going to cut them at one side, and then when I heat them up, pull them up with a pair of pliers. If I can get, oh, I can't get in far enough for that one because I'm going to have to do one at a time. How frustrating. He's cut. Right, where's my wee pliers? Or tweezers might do it actually, because once it's super hot, should be fine. So I'm going to heat up this. We'll do the other side first. That's what we'll do. So I'm going to heat up this and hopefully pull this out the way. It almost worked. Now it's just spinning around. There we go. That's one out, and hopefully now I can get access to this pin or leg. Heat that up, pull that out. Oh, he does not want to come out. There he goes. So I'll work my way along, get them out, get the resistor out, get them out, and I'll see you in a bit when it's all nice and clean and smooth, hopefully. Okay, that's all those unnecessary components removed. I did take it back to the track, it still works. Okay, what's next? So I need to get my circuit board off to get to the underside, and you might notice there's still big lumps of solder in there. So I'm going to attempt to remove that extra solder. I'm going to use one of these for the first time in my life. Solder sucker. Basically, you push that in there, it's spring loaded, you cover the soldered hole with that, and then you press this button and it sucks the solder up. That's the idea behind that. I'm also kind of regretting that I've soldered all these wires on because they're going to get in the way when I remove this circuit board. That's unfortunate, but I think it's just going to make life easier if I can remove all these wires again, and easy enough to resolder. But remember, I did fold those ones over, so that was a bit silly. Let's see if we can try and remove them. If I have to cut them, that's fine. I've got plenty of wire. I would rather not have to cut them, but oh, I think we're going to be okay. Oof, get away. Yeah, we'll be fine. So I shall remove all these wires. I'm going to leave the decoder wires in place though, because they're sitting there quite nicely. I'll remove those two wires. I'll unscrew the board, flip it over, and we'll go on to the next bit, okay? One last screw out top. This should lift off. Lovely, we can actually move this out of the way for now, although I will be getting into my trucks and giving them a bit of a clean. I might have mentioned before that these locos have got a similar connector for the left and right pickups as those little connectors there with the little black clips. I totally hate them. They get loose, you lose connection, so I'll probably pop them off, solder those little wires on properly. Same at the back, but I will need to remove the seats. So I will do that off camera because it's fairly straightforward. You can possibly see in there the little clips I'm talking about, and possibly not because it's very dark in there. Anyway, it's exactly the same as those little things that are connecting the left and right pickups, and I hate them, so I will be taking that off, soldering them on. But that's not what we're doing at the moment. At the moment we're going to attempt to remove all this nasty solder, which I've never done before. So let's see how we get on. Ideally, you kind of want a little mini vise for this because I want to heat up one side and suck the solder through the other side, so obviously I can't do it when it's down the way. We'll give it a try with these little 1, 2, 3 weights and see how we get on. So I'm going to heat up there, and I'm going to hopefully suck it through there, which you cannot see. Let's try it this way. Can you see it there? Yes. Right, let's give it a go. So, soldering iron. Get my fancy device primed and ready, so I just need to press this button when we're all heated up in fluid. Make sure I've got plenty of room, and I've just unplugged my... Oh, for goodness sake, I've just unplugged my soldering iron. Let me heat that up again. Okay, so this is going to go in there. This is going to heat up there, and then when it's wet, we're going to press the magic button and hopefully suck up that blob of solder. Let's give it a shot. So, heat up you. Oh, forgot to prime it. Silly me. Right, try again. Oh my goodness, I think it actually worked. Let's try this one. Oh, I keep forgetting to prime my thing. Right, let's go again. Such a rookie. Right, prime this time. get the third one in. Heat you up. Wow, look at that, it's actually working. See how flat it is there compared to the other blobs. So we've got 5 more to go on this side. Well, 4 on that side. Yeah, okay, let's continue it. Since we're having so much fun, let's get those ones done. Got a bit more height that way around, so I shall swap over. We're primed, heat you up, put you over there. Oh, this is great! Oh, I always got to remember and get your spring set, heat you up. This is great. Didn't really think this was going to work. Heat you up. Wow, I'm loving this. So, any decent soldering iron kit should come with one of these. And it doesn't take rocket surgery to learn how to use it. That's fantastic. Okay, let me get the other ones done, and I'll see you when we're ready to... What are we doing next? Measure out a bit of LED light stripping, I suppose. Yeah, cool. See you in a sec. And we are back. Now, I did take the opportunity to remove the seats and remove my trucks, clean the wheels, and solder on those little connectors I was talking about in there. You can see a couple of blobs of solder instead of those annoying black clips. Right, we need to decide how much light strip we want. Obviously, we're only going to be lighting the seats part, and it's going to get attached to the underside of my circuit board. So we're going to go from the underside of where it says D1 all the way down to that section there. Alright, let's see what we've got then. We're going to be using some warm white light strip for this. This stuff is so cheap, you've got to get a couple of rolls. I've got 2 rolls of the warm white, 2 rolls of the bright white. But I do feel that this era of car loco thing would be the older colour, you know, the old sort of fluorescent tubing style. So we are going from, did I say D1? I think I said D1. All the way to the back there. Oh dear, it's not quite the right size, unfortunately. So let's see, I wonder if it might sneak under. See, we do have this ridge here. And here, I might have to just trim that down a little bit, although this is very skinny. Kind of want it to go from connection to connection. So if I was to go from this join to there, that really wouldn't be long enough. So I'm going to cut it there. Now, if you're new to all this LED strip lighting, it's very cool. You see these little copper panels here? You cut right in the middle here. All you have to do now, if you look carefully, there's a little positive and a little negative. We connect our positive for the LED to the positive and the negative to that. So in this case, it's going to be the decoder wires blue is the positive, but remember the blue actually feeds all the lighting, so I need to take a little extra blue wire from there and run it up to the positive of this strip here. The negative is going to be either purple or green. Let's go with green. So the green wire is going to go to the negative of this light strip, and the blue wire, or the extra blue wire, is going to go to the positive. So I think what I'll do is I will solder them on first before we stick it down, because I don't really want to be putting solder anywhere near my circuit board. Goodness, I forgot what it was called. Brain fartage. Right. The wire for these are going to tuck round. Where shall we tuck them round? I don't know if I've got enough room to tuck them in that gap there. Let's have a wee look. When that's in there and screwed down, yes, I've got a little gap in there that the wires can come through, so that's fine. Okay, let's solder on. I wonder if I should just do a little extra blue wire and a little extra green wire onto there, and then that kind of keeps that separate for now. Yeah, let's do that. Let us utilise our 1, 2, 3 block again, just to stop that moving about. Oh, also, if you're new to these have got a little resistor for every 3 lights, which is neat. So even though my decoder has got its own resistor, these also have a little resistor, which means it's not going to be mega bright, which is absolutely fine. That's kind of what I'm going for anyway. Right, I need a little bit of flux, and then a little bit of soda. Oh, that's a bit minging. Let's give that a clean. And a little bit of solder on each little copper connector. Just dab. Like so. Now I need to find my green and blue wires. So the green one is going on the negative. Like so, and the blue is going on the, you guessed it, the positive. And that is our LED light strip, ready to be mounted on the underside of our circuit board. Now, these have got their own little self-adhesive strips. Sometimes they work, sometimes they're not so great. It really depends what you are sticking them onto. I'm hoping because this is smooth plastic, it'll work just fine. If not, we'll need to glue it. So this is going right to the end, in there. And we're going to stick it down all the way up the middle. Seems to be drifting a little bit. Like so, and hopefully this will not interfere at that little wall that I was talking about. I'll need to just trim it down. Let's see then. So they're going to get tucked under there, like that. That's going to go in there. That's going to get screwed down there. What does it look like under there? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. There's actually one extra light in that section, which is okay. Even though there's no seats. I don't quite know why there's no seats all the way along there. Well, obviously because there's a motor in the way. But I'm sure on the last one I've got, the last BUDD, they had little quarter-sized chairs all the way along here. Okay, so we can actually screw this back down now. All our wiring's top side. We can resolder all those wires that I unsoldered. Motor wires. Pickup wires, and then we can start working out which bulbs we're going to use. So let me get all that screwed down, these wires soldered on for now, and then we'll do the lights, okay? That's my wee circuit board screwed back down, everything soldered back in place, and I did check it, it still works. So let's get the lighting done. Well, I think I want to mount my decoder round about there, so we really don't need all this wire. Also, 3 of these wires aren't actually going to be attached to the board anyway. For example, the blue wire and the yellow wire and the white wire, because the board is not going to be used for the light functions. So I'm just going to remove all of them, stick my decoder right there because that's where the hump is on my loco, and then we can solder it in where it's supposed to go. So I'll bring you back in a second when I've desoldered them, cut them down, and soldered on the main power wires, okay? Here we are then, much tidier, as you can see. Got my black and my red pickup wires. I've got my grey and my orange motor wires. So just the lighting to do now. Now I did mention that I wanted the red light as well, front and back, but I'm not going to bother with that. Partly because if it did have a red light, it would be coming out these little spots there and the other side. And they're not actually lenses, they're just painted black. So we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to use a nice bright white LED, which has already got a resistor, which is good because it acts as a nice little wedge. I can ram that down that slot there. And that is where, hopefully, that LED is supposed to go at the front. Okay, and the same at the back. I've cut this one to size for now. This will make sense momentarily. So that one can also get pushed down and use its resistor as a wedge. Keep it nice and solid in there. So now we've got a mishmash of wires again. The red is the positive for the LED at the front. Red is the positive for the LED at the back. So they're actually going to get joined together. And then the blue from the decoder is the common positive. That needs to get joined to the two reds. And also this blue, which is the positive for the LED strip light on the underside. So all those four wires have to get soldered together. Let me do that, and remember to put your heat shrink on first to keep it all nice and isolated, or insulated. Insulated and isolated. Right, back when those four wires are together. So that is our common positive wired up to everything. So a quick recap. The common positive is coming out of the decoder, and it's going into this red wire, which is a positive for the front headlight. This red wire, which is a positive for the rear headlight, and this, the blue wire, which is a positive for the strip light on the underside. Okay, next up, let us figure out where everything else goes. We have 3 wires left, and we have 3 wires left. So, yellow wire. Yellow wire goes to the negative of the rear headlight, which will be this one here. Let us join them together. Lovely. Next up, we have our green wire, and that's going to connect to, you guessed it, maybe you didn't, that is going to connect to, it's a bit long, that's why I'm going to snip one of them down. Anyway, that's connecting to the strip light on the underside. That's the negative for the strip light. Which leaves 2 wires left. White is for the front headlight negative, which is connecting to this black wire. Front light negative. And we're going to curl this one round, I think. Yes, that's what we'll do. I prefer joining my wires end to end rather than twisting them together and having a weird Y shape at the end, you know. Get that one tinned up first. A little bit of heat shrink tubing. That one's just a little bit on the long side. And we are going to curl this one around. Oh, let's tin up the black one as well. Don't need any problems this late in the game. See, it was already starting to separate. I hate when the stranded wire separates like that. That's better. I've got our heat shrink on, so we can just connect these and we will be done. Exciting stuff. follow you around. Could do with third hand. I do actually have a little grabby device on my soldering iron, but it's away over there, and I'll just use this pair of pliers instead. This is a weight. Yeah, that'll do. Stick that on there. A little bit more solder, I believe. There we go. Oh, I'm going to work left-handed. This is where it all goes wrong. Success. Just need to slide our heat shrink over there, and we will actually be done. Right, let's shrink that in place. Try not to burn your fingers, Dave. Oh, slipped up a wee bit. Oh my goodness. Just stay calm. I know it's easy to get excited at this stage, but just stay calm to the very end. Okay, we should all be done now. So we just need to really tidy up these wires a little bit. I don't obviously want to put tape around here because I've got a light on the underside. So I think maybe just a spot of hot glue, just a wee splodge there. And that's probably all we're going to need, to be honest. So let me heat up my heat gun. I mean my glue gun. I'll be back when we're about to put the shell back on. Clean this up a bit. Right, see you in a sec. Well, I think we are ready to finish up. Make sure the body still goes on. Oh no! Oh no! I'm just kidding. Yep, no problem at all. Let me get all the screws in, the couplers, and we will be donezo. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we are done. I hope it works. Let's get to the track and find out. Now, I know you're all thinking, why didn't you test it before you put it all together? Well, that's because I am so super confident that it'll work that I don't have to. Okie dokie, let us see. Switch it to DCC power. Make sure it goes forward and back first of all. And it should be super smooth now that I've soldered those little wires on, cleaned the wheels, cleaned all the contacts. So yes, it is super smooth, super quiet. Okay, let's see if it has any lights. So hitting 0 now. Oh, that's nice. So forward, and then when I change direction, that should go off. The other one should come on. Off, and let me check. Yep, the back end is on, or the front end, depending on how you look at things. And finally, we need to check out The interior lights should be button 1, might be button 2, depending on the colour of the wire. Oh, there we go. Excellent. So I've still got another wire in there if I wanted to add another light somewhere. And I think that colour of lighting is perfect. There is quite a severe tint on the glass, as you can probably tell by the front glass. But that's fine because the only thing behind that front glass is motor. Very happy with that. I can't go over how quiet this is. Proto for the win. Now I know what you're going to say, Dave, you forgot to add the passengers. I didn't forget, I couldn't find them. They're in a little bag, got them from AliExpress, could be anywhere. So when I find them, I'll put them in this BUDD car and a few more in the other BUDD RDC I've got. Okay, I'm very happy with that install. Time for the victory lap. I'll put both the BUDD cars on in opposite directions and have a nice little victory lap. Take care everyone, I'll see you very soon. Getting close to Christmas, getting excited. Bye for now.